You are listening to Think Theory Radio. Radio. Hello and welcome to Think Theory Radio. This is your host, Damian Perdue, with the one and only Lady B.
Hey.
Running the boards.
What's up, Lady B?
Making sure everything sounds
What up?
nice and crispy and beautiful. We got Dennis back there running the Facebook Live. So if you're on Facebook, what's up? We got a very special 420 episode of Think Theory Radio. Since it is 420, and those of you out there who know what 420 is, you know what this is about. Yeah. But we got a special guest in studio. Hello, we got Big X.
Hey, how's it going?
And my man Big X right here is a recording artist.
Sometimes.
Lyricist, musician.
Oh, stop. You make me blush.
Also a herbal connoisseur and works within the cannabis industry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ooh, yay,
Studio audience. So I figured he was a perfect guest to bring on this lovely April 20th, 420.
It's my Christmas.
Right.
It truly is. I love it.
And it's a beautiful day out for 420, too. Yes. Sunny, a little warmer than it was the past couple of days. Mm-hmm. A great day to partake.
Hell yeah.
In the herbal relief, the remedy, the cure-all.
Yummy.
Yes. And, you know, so we did a cannabis show probably about, 5 months ago or something like that, me and Antonio. And we got more into, like, the background of it, like the historical aspects of cannabis and legalities. And I figured today, being 420, we could get more into the the technical side or the deliciousness of it,
terpenes.
The terpenes.
Yeah, you got to have a good terpene profile, man.
And the crystals, the THC crystals.
They're beautiful. I love them.
That's the other thing, too, about cannabis. It's a very beautiful plant.
Oh, extremely gorgeous, man. It's just like any other garden. Like, if you take your time and you put effort into it, you're going to have a gorgeous fruit, and it's beautiful. A lot of these amateur growers are not producing high times quality in terms of aesthetics and cosmetics.
Yeah.
But that's really what, you want that. So,
right.
Take your time when you're growing, read and research and learn, and then you get those terpene profiles and the subtle nuances of coconut and banana and all those beautiful things.
Now, this is what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that for those of you who don't know what 420 is, I'm sure there are listeners out there that don't know.
Of course.
It's kind of the worldwide day of celebration of cannabis.
Yes.
It kind of became that way over a period of time. There's different rumors and myths of how it started.
Yeah, I've heard a few.
Yeah, the one I've always heard is it was a group of kids in California that used to meet up after school to smoke and get high, and they would mark 420, I think, on a locker or a tree or something like that. And that
I like that
meet
one.
up. Yeah, and it meant to meet up at 420 at this particular place.
That one's a lot cooler than the one I've heard. I've always heard it was like some police code for like
I did hear that one too. Yeah,
of marijuana. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
but I like yours better. That's like so cheerful and happy.
Yeah, and it's California. It makes more sense.
I love California. Can't wait to go back, man.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. So you're literally out there in the hub of the industry.
Yes, sir, man.
I mean, California's, was the first place to really legalize it medicinally.
Yep.
Back in the day, I remember when I first went out there when they first did that, and it was amazing for me to see, being a kid from Chicago.
Yeah.
And I stumbled into like a dispensary. I didn't even know because it was kind of like a head shop and a dispensary. And I walk in and I just see him like bagging up cannabis. I'm like, what's going on in here?
This is heaven. Where did I go? Please don't let me leave. That's pretty much how I feel. going from Chicago to California was like walking into Heaven's Gate. I love cannabis so much, and it's a beautiful medicine. It's a beautiful relaxer. It's just beautiful, and it's totally sad that we don't get to fully appreciate it here. You know, like I'm happy when I'm in California, like my anxieties go away. Like it's pretty bad when you're in like Chicago, for example, and like you got a nice buzz going on and you walk into a 7-Eleven to grab some munchies and there's 2 cops there, and then like your buzz is gone or you're paranoid or something's wrong, and it's so freeing and liberating to be in California. And like I shake up with cops. I'm like, what's up, man?
Yeah.
How you doing? Have a great day. I have
Right.
an eighth in my pocket and I'm a happy-go-lucky guy in California. It's sad that we don't get to fully appreciate it here, though.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is changing. I mean, we do have medicinal now, and hopefully with the new Governor Pritzker, who seems to be very pro legalization of it recreational, we'll see if that eventually changes.
I hope it does change. There's so many financial benefits for state and for the community. It's just, it's so beneficial, man. It's to be able to take your medicine that's not an opiate, that doesn't have truly addictive natures. It's just a beautiful thing. Pro marijuana all day.
Yeah,
Round of applause.
Yeah, there you go. Studio audience, where are you at? And that's the thing too, is, you know, I remember for years, you know, the pro cannabis you know, people and doctors or whoever were always talking about the benefits of it. And this is, you know, for years, I'm talking about for a long time, you know.
Yeah,
since
super long, 70s possibly.
Yeah, 60s for sure. Yeah. And people kind of, you know, always kind of poo-pooed it and like, oh, that's just some hippies. They just want to get high, and there's nothing beneficial of it. But now it's finally coming out that no, it is, and there's real studies and helping people with cancer and glaucoma and, you know, and
anxiety,
AIDS and exactly, anxiety, depression, and the whole thing with CBD and even creating a way so that if you don't want the psychoactive effects, you can still get the medical benefits.
And there's a lot more, man, dude. So like, speaking of CBD, like I love CBD. It's a great product. I also know that there are hundreds of other chemicals that haven't been isolated yet. And, you know, there's like CBG and CBN and THN, and these things promote sleep and positive well-being. And these are things that we're exploring in California right now. And like, I don't want people to get trapped in the stigma that CBD is the actual medicine, because there's so much more exploration to be done.
Okay.
And you know, like the man who actually isolated the CBD, I can't recall his name off the top of my head. Very interesting man. I was watching his documentary, and at the end of his documentary, he was stating that he's very excited for the future of marijuana because he stumbled on CBD. And he says now that he knows that there's hundreds of other chemicals, he cannot wait to see what combinations he could come up with through the isolation process. And these things could truly benefit everybody on this planet. And yeah, so CBD is great, but man, keep exploring and keep looking. And you can actually isolate chemicals at home if you know what you're doing. And there's YouTube channels. These things are a little delicate, you know, to tamper with. But, it's possible for anybody with a decent amount of knowledge and good with their hands, you know, to dive into these things. And that could be the next $1 million idea,
right?
You know, so explore.
And something beneficial, you know. And see, that I didn't know that. I didn't know that they stumbled upon CBD, and I also didn't know that there was these other, you know, the CBN and CBG that you're talking about.
There's also the I forget, the Holy 13. It's Rick Simpson oil is the actual cure for cancer.
Okay.
It's called RSO, and it's a very crude-looking blackish oil. And you ingest a rice grain size of it, and that is the beginning process of this medication. And then you move forward, and you take more, and then eventually you start to break down the cancer cells. Rick Simpson is a great person to look up if you don't know who he is. I highly recommend that you look up Rick Simpson. He beat skin cancer on his own. He's a microbiologist, and man, just very, very, very good, humble guy with a lot of information and a lot of wherewithal, because he was fighting. He was the reason why California actually passed the medical law. Okay. Yeah. So Rick Simpson, look him up.
Rick Simpson.
Cancer. Yes, it's beatable, and you know, changing your diets and exploring medical marijuana is definitely an option.
Yeah, that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
See, that's some great info, and that's why I brought you on the show today.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Man. It feels good to be able to like say these things because a lot of times, you know, I have conversations with people that are anti marijuana, and I try to give them as much information as I possibly can. And it seems almost like they are unswayable, and they're just completely adamant on shutting down this
Right.
plant. And it's
Yeah.
like, why? There's nothing wrong with it. It's beautiful. It's beneficial. And then, you know, the hemp is, hemp is amazing. One,
Yeah.
you know, we're getting a lot of the CBD products out of hemp. And then, you know, we have hemp concrete, which is like,
Right.
they're building homes in Mexico out of this
Yeah.
hempcrete. And then, you know, this is the original paper before there was papyrus in Egypt. They were making paper of hemp.
The Constitution.
Yeah, the
written on that
Constitution. You know, it helped found America, and I'm happy that they're using it for industrial now because you know it benefits the environment with all of the oxygen produced from plants growing, and you know with the decrease of or the deforestation of the planet. This would be nice to have these abundant crops that grow big and fast. So that I could only imagine the amount of oxygen that they're putting into our atmosphere. And then with it being industrial, you know, that opens up a whole bunch of job markets, farming, industrial, paper, all of these things. I'm happy that it's moving forward. I'm sad that it's taking such a long time for it to become what it needs to be.
Yeah.
It could really save America.
No, no doubt. And that's you brought up 2 points that I kind of wanted to get into, and one is kind of a thing that I used to that I always had in my head, you know, especially back in the day, thinking about the cannabis plant and versus oil. And I used to say, kind of to create this kind of, you know, juxtaposition, I would say that, you know, oil is the devil's blood and cannabis is God's seed. And the way I looked at it is if you look at what oil has done and the production of oil, it's just destroying the planet and making it harder for us to live. And then the consumption of oil, funding greed, wars, giving people cancer from the manufacturing of it and polluting the oceans. And then you look at something like the hemp seed and the overall benefits are so many. I mean, just the hemp seed itself is one of the most nutritious seeds.
Great source of fiber.
Yeah, it has like tons of minerals and vitamins, amino acids, protein. You could literally exist eating hemp seeds and drinking water.
Yeah.
When you think about the plant itself, what you can turn it into, you could not only build, like you said, bricks, you could clothe yourself.
Yes.
You could build a house for yourself. You could eat it. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you could literally live off of just that.
Of hemp, yeah.
You could create oil out of it and power your cars. And, so it's pretty amazing when you think of the difference of the two and how, if we did that with hemp, you wouldn't have the detriment to the environment, to people, that we do. And I just see the oil industry as like this kind of like cabal of, devilish people and controlling the world and then suppressing the information of hemp.
Big pharma, big oil, all of these things are trying to destroy this tiny, beautiful little plant.
Yes. And, and that's the thing too, like you were talking about the stigma and that you were happy to come on and be able to talk freely about it. And that's part of the problem is the stigma of it and the conditioning that people have had for such a long time, one on the political and legal front, but also in the religious aspect. There's a lot of people who are very religious and they think that marijuana is bad because they've been told that for so long, and, that's, whatever. But so you have this constant conditioning, and there's a lot of people that, they will just close off their mind to you when you're talking about it.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's interesting that you have something that could be beneficial to this person, especially somebody who has ailments.
Yeah.
And because of the conditioning they've had to believe that cannabis is bad, they won't use it and they won't even listen to you talk about it.
And the sad part about it is like a lot of these religions, they were based on ceremonial events that actually used marijuana in some sort of fashion to, whether it was shamanism, whether it was to relieve stress of the community and pass it as incense, so there's these things that people over the course of time, they've drifted away due to societal standards. And they forget that their culture embraced this. You know?
Right.
So yeah, it's conditioning and it's societal, and it's still very sad. It's all very sad, man.
No doubt.
The break away from Mother Earth the way that we have, and really, cannabis and hemp are 100% natural, you know, as long as you're not getting some dispensary marketed super hard plant growth regulated pesticide stuff, you know.
Right.
If you get a good
marble marijuana,
if you get a good organic batch of marijuana, like, it's a beautiful thing, and it's like so gorgeous, and everybody should have the opportunity to toy around with it and find out what their ideal is for consumption, you know. It's sad that, you know, we don't get to have that. We need that, man.
Right.
We were able to sit here right now and just burn a doobie and talk. We would be more free. We would literally laugh a little bit more, and we wouldn't be so, like, I know we're not uptight. We have a history together, but, like, you know, if we were to burn, it would just be like sitting at your house.
Oh man, believe me, if I didn't think I'd get fired from the studio, I would have been like, let's do it.
Right on, you know.
You know?
That's another sad thing. With drug testing, because they still, in California and in Colorado, you still have to get drug tested to get a job, and it's ridiculous. It's like, this does not impair me. I'm smart enough to know not to smoke marijuana before I come to my job, so why should I be tested on a panel test that shows 28 days of usage when 28 days of marijuana usage did not affect me? If I'm not stoned when I come in, then I'm not impaired.
Right.
You know, so it's ridiculous.
Yeah, they don't test you for alcohol, and people are way worse alcoholism, you know.
I'm so against alcohol. The more I've dived into California, and the more that I've fallen in love with California, I go to these clubs, and I could smoke. And I'm in these clubs, and I'm smoking, and I'm like, oh my God, like, I spent so much of my youth intoxicated because this is all I could do. But if I would have had this option to smoke this flower, I wouldn't have gotten so much trouble. I wouldn't have done so much damage to my body, you know. So it's sad, and we need to correct this. There has to be, I know there's the Normal organization, and I know that there's other advocacy programs and things, but the humanity needs to be in an uproar about this. You know, because it's so freaking beautiful.
No doubt. And so we got to take a break. And also, Big X, like I said earlier, is a recording artist, a lyricist, a rapper, an MC. So we're going to play a track here. Let's do the ALAMF one. Did you find that one?
No, I found Mean Green.
Okay, let's do Mean Green.
All right, let's do that one. And we'll be back. Think Theory Radio.
With my right hand, man, goddamn, it's a fast life. Being poor, now I do it all till I get the cash right. Damn right. For every text I ignore, I be snoring on the pile with a smile and 3 whores. I see 3 shows in 2 weeks. People think it's cake. Well, I ain't slept in 2 weeks, but my sleep's fresh and my green.
Welcome back to Think Theory Radio.
Hello.
I'm here with Big X.
It's me, guys.
It's him.
Hell yeah.
So, hey, if you want to get in on this conversation about cannabis and 420, give us a call at 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-WCPT. Let us know what you think. Are you pro-cannabis? Are you anti?
Yeah.
Are you against legalization? We're here to discuss and debate
I love it.
the issues.
Yeah.
And, so before we went on the break, we were talking kind of the legalities of it and, you know, how difficult it is, even in the legalized states, like you were saying about still getting drug testing in California and Colorado and places, and that's just crazy. And then also when you think about the incarceration rate, you know, I know that they're starting to release.
Yeah, they're repealing a lot of the marijuana charges in San Francisco. And I just heard that the new rep here is trying to do it. She's working with the San Francisco rep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just read this article.
Kim Fox?
Yes, Kim Fox. Yes, Kim Fox is working with the San Francisco rep that just had all of these marijuana cases repealed. She's trying to do it in Chicago.
Okay.
I hope it works, man.
Yeah.
There's no reason why anybody should have to be incarcerated over this beautiful plant. It's like, do you remember George Jung when he's getting arrested and he's at his court date and he starts singing that song and and he's like, what did I really do? I passed an imaginary line with a beautiful flower. And,
Right.
and it's true. It's like, it's an imaginary line, and it's a beautiful flower. There should be no repercussions of that. It's like, you find a beautiful cactus in the desert and you want to appreciate it, so you take it home with you. I respect it. It's the same thing. It may be a little bit unenvironmentalist to pluck it out of the dirt and take it home, but it's how I appreciate things. I want to watch it grow in front of my face.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes you see a nice flower and you pick it and
smell it.
Yeah. You got to stop and smell the weed.
I smell it everywhere. I love it. I'm like, oh, that's a Gorilla Glue, number 7, I believe. Yes, it's number 7.
There's a hybrid with a little bit of Northern Lights in there.
Yes, I love it, man. All the little smells, and I like it. I appreciate it. What I really miss, though, is like I remember growing up and smoking skunk, the original skunk 1 strain.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to find, but it's that smell is so nostalgic to me, and I wish I could just find it and just enjoy it, because I remember when it would come around, it was so special.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's like, people remember it, but they don't grow it or they don't have it. And I really wish, if anybody out there is listening and you know where to find some skunk 1, let me know.
Yeah, I think the original, or at least when I was a kid, and that's what they would tell us, or I think I might have read it in High Times, was the original strain, the skunk strain, was an Afghani.
Possibly,
from an Afghani strain. And that's the difference, too, that I noticed, like, even though now you get stuff that's way higher THC content and, grown specifically for whatever, but back in the day, I feel like there was a lot more kind of international cannabis. You'd get some stuff at, like Thai stick, or you'd get like the Afghani, or you'd get Jamaican. Or
the way that the industry has shifted, like, so basically these California growers, they knew that they were sitting on optimized ground for growing anything. There's a lot of hippie communes and a lot of people that were just like trying to sustain their well-being by growing vegetables, and they were like, hey, we like to smoke cannabis, so let's try and grow this.
Right.
And so all they had an access at that time was Mexican marijuana, which we all know Mexican marijuana is not the best. I mean, the actual statistics are like anywhere from like 5 to 10% THC, and if you're getting that high, they're still trying to tax you on it. So anything that is Mexican is really low grade. So these farmers were happy with it, and then they heard of the Afghani strains, so they went out there and they bought these Afghani seeds.
Yeah.
So that's basically what has happened. We still have the organics and the lineage of these different areas, but we've taken them to the mountains of California.
Okay.
And so this is where hybrids and all of these other super exotic strains are coming from. They're just going there, grabbing the seeds, hoping for a male.
Yeah.
And then they get their male, and then they're like, okay, we like the terpene profile of this lemon, and we love the high of this Gorilla Glue. Let's put them together, and now we have lemon glue. So we're not really missing out. The genetics are still there. It's just they're together now. It's like a beautiful baby.
Okay.
So we're getting to appreciate Thai stick, but it's not as Thai stick. But Thai stick had a low THC rating too, from what I've read. Back then, they were just used to smoking lower grades. That's why a lot of older people are like, this is a waste of money. And like, I used to get 4-finger lids for $10. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. But that 4-finger lid, that would last you 2 weeks. And if you buy an eighth of marijuana at this THC quality, if you nurse it and smoke it properly, it's going to last you the same 2 weeks.
Right.
I use the comparison of Budweiser versus 50-year Scotch.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like, if you want to smoke Budweiser or you want to drink Budweiser, you go to a liquor store, you buy Budweiser. The Mexican brick is still available, I'm sure. But, if you want 50-year-old Scotch, you're going to pay for the 50-year-old Scotch. And the way that I've learned to drink 50-year-old Scotch is you sip that. Like, that's it.
Right.
I've tried to shoot 50-year-old Scotch, and I burned my whole insides straight to the core. And that was the worst thing I ever did. And I was extremely inebriated after half a shot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like the craft beer revolution, too. And that's why, I know, people that are, why do you want to spend so much money on, just 6 beer, like a 6-pack, and you could get a 24-pack. And it's like, yeah, but that stuff is, 1, doesn't taste as good. 2, it's not going to give you the same kind. You could drink 1 beer and have a nice buzz and
Yes.
taste great and have
Yes.
like the same kind of, when you're talking about the terpenes and all these different, the mixing, the different breeds of cannabis, it's similar within the craft brewery.
Yeah,
they're
it
like,
is.
oh, let's add in coffee notes
Exactly.
and let's add in this floral composition.
That's exactly
and,
what it is. And hops is actually the sister of cannabis.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, and they have a similar smell. I love Lagunitas Little Something Something. And I found out that they named it a Little Something Something because it's a little something something. I was like, wow, this makes sense. It's hilarious. I love it. And I'm glad that a brewery has actually, had enough ganas to do that. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And
There's definitely, I've had hemp craft brew too. That's pretty
you have?
good. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
man, you're going to have to show me that.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can get that here. And then now they're starting to do like CBD infused.
Yeah, Carl's Jr. is doing CBD infused today for 420 in Colorado.
Oh, wow.
Dude.
No way.
Yeah, it's national media. And I really don't know why. I think it's all propaganda, just a quick profit for them. But
I think there's a bar in West Loop that has CBD infused cocktails too.
yeah.
And I've seen like CBD infused seltzer water. Like
Yeah,
there's
they're
so
all,
many
everything.
products.
I was gonna do CBD coffee with the cafe I was gonna open up, but
Okay.
so I just had that opportunity to go to
Yeah.
California. I was like, why am I opening up a cafe? I'm gonna
Right.
go live my dream, man.
Right. Yeah. And I see all the pictures like dancing in the forests of cannabis.
Yeah, no, man. I took one the other day. It was pretty great. My buddy had just harvested, and he got like 500 pounds of marijuana out of it, and he bagged them all up, and we were just laying on them, and
Yeah.
like it was just like this beautiful experience because like me personally growing up, I just loved the flower so much that I was like, I would love to roll in this, and now I'm actually rolling in it, and it's like, I'm doing it, and I feel like Rocky a lot,
Right.
It gets me amped up, and it makes me so happy because like I'm not doing anything wrong there.
Right.
But if I was here, I'd be a freaking criminal.
Right.
They'd be seeking me for federal investigations and all kinds of other things. But I'm in California. I'm just doing my thing. I'm living my life, and there are some weird laws and loopholes and things that are going on in California. But I'm just doing what I can do. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get involved in as much as I can, and so if you're doing it right, you're not breaking the law.
Right.
So that's what I always try to do. Just make sure that you research and you know what you're doing so that you're not breaking the law, because that shit can get quite costly.
Yeah. And have you been to like a lot of different growing facilities out there?
Yes, I've been to outdoor huge farms, and I've been to indoor small grows, and there's one thing that is common throughout the growing community is like it's a very loving, peaceful atmosphere. These plants, when you're there, it's like, just imagine like, one, you're peaceful because you're ingesting marijuana.
Right.
So you're already peaceful and you're already calm, but now you're walking into this room that's kind of like walking into a chapel when the sun's shining through the stained glass, and you get to appreciate what the chapel, even though you're not religious, you're like, this is beautiful. And that's how it feels when you walk into a greenhouse with all of this glass and there's just sunshine coming through, and like you can see the crystals of the THC just popping off of the sunlight, and there's no way not to appreciate that and feel some sort of spiritual connection to that soil or that plants. And I've had the opportunity to dig my hands in the soil and play with things and learn what organic nutrients are put into them so that we can maximize the potential of the bud itself. So it's just really beautiful all the way around, from the beginning process of germinating a seed to the end process of harvesting a big, gorgeous cola. It's just, it's beautiful, man.
Yeah, I know one of the most interesting stories that I heard about like grow places was Damian Marley bought an old prison
Yeah.
in Northern California and converted it into a growing facility.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that's such a great concept. One, it's perfect, like, because that's what he said in the interview. He said, look, you have built-in security.
Yeah.
You have these massive walls and security systems. But at the same time, it's kind of like converting a place that was once about, punishment and,
Right.
and punishing people for smoking
Yeah.
cannabis into a place to celebrate cannabis and to turning a negative into a positive
all day. Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that's pretty great. And
Yeah.
I wonder how many different stories there are like that. And
There's a lot of them. The legality in California is actually disrupting the lifestyle that's been there for these growers since the 60s, and they're actually not too happy about it. There's regulations that are being placed on them that they are feeling violated. Like, you got to really think about this. Like, everybody thinks that this plant is like making people rich, and it's really not. I mean, there's a bunch of overhead that goes into producing these extremely high quality marijuana, and these guys are just farmers. They're
Right.
like the Indiana cropsman growing his corn,
Right.
and that farmer isn't making a lot of money growing corn, and neither are these farmers growing marijuana. So it's just it's an interesting situation what's going on in California. Legality in itself, anytime you want to force bureaucracy and legislation and all of these things on something so natural and something so harming, there is a huge problem there, and it causes a lot of backlash on all sides, and it's not necessarily a good thing. We really... The ideal for marijuana, in my opinion, is decriminalization across the board. Portugal has decriminalized all illicit drugs, and their homicide is practically non-existent. The HIV epidemic is falling so fast. Teenagers don't even want to smoke marijuana there.
Yeah.
These things, we're kind of extremely backwards here.
Yeah.
And the war on drugs, it's not real. There's no war on drugs.
Part of that, it's the prison industrial complex.
Big time.
They want workers. They want free labor.
Yeah,
they want
they do.
people locked up, especially people of color.
Of course.
And that's the other problem in that I see, like in California and other states, is the kind of, you had a large percentage of people that would get locked up for it were black and Latino.
And brown, yeah.
And now the ones who are making money from it are like rich white people, and especially that's what I've heard. Part of the problem was when they legalized it recreationally in California, that the way they set up the structure of the law was basically kind of to open it up for like corporations.
That's basically what they
and
did.
rich people.
Yeah.
Which sucks, and hopefully
It's a fight,
the other
dude.
states won't follow that. But I know it seems inevitable in this country that's the corporations are going to get involved. Hopefully there's some kind of way to maneuver out of that.
Well, in my opinion, I feel that it's up to the population and the user to realize that these corporations that are already existing have been poisoning us and hurting us for years. So if we continue to follow suit with that, then we are just as guilty as they are.
Right.
Because there is a bunch of small farmers growing organic marijuana, and they deserve that money versus any major corporation.
Right.
These are people that are just trying to feed their families.
Yeah.
And these corporations are just trying to harm us and fill us with more pesticides and
Exactly.
more chemicals and carcinogens, and it's not good. So don't buy any cannabis from any major corporation backing. Philip Morris has been killing us with tobacco for years. They're probably the first people that are going to get into this. You know? I know that Corona just purchased a bunch of land to try and get into this industry. I really don't support that, and I won't support that, and I'll never put any money into their pockets. Mike Tyson, though, he just opened up his own farm. I love his advertising schemes and the way he does his thing.
Yeah.
Like, we all see Mike Tyson as big tough guy, and he's like a really smart, calm dude, and it's amazing. His Joe Rogan interview, they were talking about DMT and all kinds of other just spiritual things. And like, you would never expect Mike Tyson. Let's talk about DMT. You would never expect this. It was just so beautiful, and he has very good cannabis. I can't wait to go to the Tyson Ranch. It's one of my things I want to do, like in the very near future. I just want to go and see what his take on marijuana is, because his pictures are gorgeous. Follow Mike Tyson's new ranch or whatever on Instagram. He's got some great cannabis growing.
Yeah, I know last time I was in Cali was just before they legalized it recreational, and I had some of Snoop Dogg's
Very
farm,
funny.
and it was pretty good.
Yeah, he's got good cannabis. Him and Tommy Chong right now, they're like always at each other's necks on Instagram about who's got the better pot.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. I love it because, Tommy Chong is just real casual and carefree. And he's like, yeah, Chong's choice, man. And Snoop's like, yeah, smoke that Snoop. It's
Right.
like, it's just hilarious. I love it. But they both have very good pots.
Yeah.
And like, it's up to the user, really. Like, what do you want? Like, me personally, I can't stand sativas.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to feel that. No, I love indicas. I want to
wanna
chill.
mellow
I
out.
want to relax.
Yeah.
My brain's way too overactive in the first place, so
Yeah.
I don't need any more stimulation inside of that head. Just give me some good, pure indica, a solid OG strain, chill me out, relax me, just put me in that nice, calm feeling. I love that.
Yeah, definitely, and that it is per person, per user, what how it's going to affect you, and what strains and which different ones is best suited for you. Because I know, like people sometimes, well, I don't smoke because it gives me anxiety, or I
Yes.
get hyper. It's like, well, you might be maybe it's not for you, or you might just be smoking the wrong strain,
Definitely.
or like, because I noticed too, like a sativa has more potentiality to give you kind of anxiety because it is more of a head one. Keeps you up. It's almost a little bit more like caffeine in a way.
Yeah, they're trying to classify it as a stimulant now.
Yeah.
But I don't like that. That's not fair. This is not coffee. This is
Right.
not it's not cocaine. You can't
Right.
classify it as a stimulant.
Yeah, no
because
doubt.
the overall effects of it actually, after the stimulant of the brain goes away, you go back into the THC effect.
Yeah.
And you lose the psychoactive material, and then you're calm and you're relaxed. So you just got to ride out a 15, 20-minute wave. It's like a cup
Right.
of coffee. Like,
Right.
You can't classify that as a drug, a stimulant. Get out of here.
Yeah, you can't do that, especially with espresso.
I mean, that's legal.
Right. So we're going to take another break, and let's go with another one of your tracks, Big X.
All right.
We got, what, ALAMF.
Nice. Roller coasters.
Be back with more Think Theory Radio.
3 shows in 2 weeks. People think it's K. Well, I ain't slept in 2 weeks, but my sneaks fresh and my green loud. Bank account flush. I walk a green mile. Freestyle sessions. Now, all I wish I knew then. To the children that I raise up, get your grades up. That's how I got my pay up. Now I'm sipping from a gold cup. Success is overflowing. I
Never understood, but I knew where I was going.
Yeah.
That's true, man. I never understood it, but I definitely knew that I was meant for something great, man. So, yeah, I love that. I love that line. It resonates so deep inside of me. I love it. I hope other people feel that way too, man. Just keep pushing for whatever you want.
Right. No, yeah, and you were definitely one to follow your dreams.
I have to, man. I got children to show these things to, that it's all about like pushing and fighting. Like complacency is the enemy, which actually I fight with this all the time with marijuana because
Yeah.
it makes me complacent.
Oh,
And
true.
so I'm like, you know what? This is horrible.
Right.
But at the same time, like, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
But, I move on with my life. I enjoy my buzz. I eat a quick cheeseburger and I'm good. Cup of coffee, quick little sandwich. I'm out the door. I'm good to go.
Well, that's why, like, kind of for me in my old age,
You ain't old.
No, I just mess around. But I more tend to nowadays kind of wait till the end of the night. And kind of like I do my business during the day, work, take care
Yeah.
of whatever, and then when I get home, that's when I roll it up and
Nice.
relax.
Hey, yeah.
And then you don't have to worry about being complacent because that's the time to be complacent.
Well,
Maybe not
unfortunately,
always.
man, dude, I just want so much in my life, and I want such grandiose things,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not left with the ability to actually have a particular time to be
Right.
elevated or medicated, like. And plus with, the stresses of being a businessman and being an artist and fighting for all of these different things, I need to be medicated.
Right.
My anxieties run high all day long. So I like waking up and like rolling over, having a cup of coffee and sparking up a fatty and looking over emails and replying to texts. It's part of a ritual for me. And it does suck though. Like it gets me a little complacent. But I just fight through it.
Well, plus for you though, I mean, you work in the cannabis industry, so it's you kind of have to partake.
I partake all day long.
That's what I really hate. Like, sorry to interrupt, but I was reading an article about one of these big cannabis conglomerates that was started. It was in Canada, and it started by some guy who was like a attorney or a stockbroker, I forget, and this guy was like talking about how he doesn't even smoke and he's never smoked. And
Oh my gosh.
and it's just like, and it was just all about the money, and it was just like, I mean, props to him for recognizing they can make money off it and everything, but at the same time, it's just like I'm reading this article like, oh my god, why is this guy making money off it? Why, you know what I mean?
That's like the modern day yuppie, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's sad, dude. Like, why is it cool for John Goldsmith to profit and make millions off of this industry when little old Hector Rodriguez is sitting in jail for the past 2 years because he can't afford bail or a lawyer, and he only got busted with an ounce? It's like, why? This is wrong, and it's wrong, and there needs to be new laws and new regulations and new things that are explored and new laws that are written, because I mean, you can't expect society to live by standards that were based off of a 1930s law.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. We are almost 100 years past that, and the thinking of the society has advanced and changed. And granted, we still have a lot of people that are drowned in ignorance. There's an extremely large amount of people that are educated enough and strong enough to make these decisions, and they should be the ones that are voicing and changing these laws. And I don't know, like deep down inside of me, if I had the time and the excess funding, I would totally start some advocacy group in order to, like the DNA reversal program.
Yeah.
I would do something like that for everybody, because there's like people suffering. Like this lady, I went to go see her. She lives in a high rise off of Lakeshore Drive, and we're talking, and she's telling me, she's about 65 years old. She's telling me that one of her friends got busted with a few pounds of marijuana in the 60s or 70s, and he's still in prison.
Oh my god.
Like, dude, are you serious?
That's insane.
That is insane. And he's lost his family. Well, who knows if he lost his family, but any person in that situation that has been locked up for that long, their families died off. Their friends have died off. Their friends have moved on. They've created new lives and new lifestyles, and he's just sitting in prison. And that's freaking horrible.
It's crazy.
It's sad. It's disgusting the way that America has treated these proverbial criminals that like plants.
Right. And that's the thing too, like the laws you brought up about, from the 1930s or 40s or whatever, were racist. I mean, even we got into what we talked about in the last time we did the show was about the name marijuana was specifically given to the plant to make it sound like some, the Mexicans grow this. It's marijuana, and the devil's weed, and the same thing with a lot of the laws. They were targeting black people in the South and saying, these black guys are gonna smoke marijuana and go rape your wife.
Yeah.
These were literally things they would say.
Yeah, they were actual publications. Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah. And we had a caller. I just want to, before I forget, Sheila called in and she asked about that guy's name was Rick
Simpson Oil.
Simpson.
Rick Simpson is the man. His creation is Rick Simpson Oil, the Holy 13. There's a series of chemicals that stem from the roots all the way up to the top cola. So this is processed not through using just the flower. It is a process that uses the whole plants from root to the top.
All right.
And there's plenty of information online. You just Google Rick Simpson and you will be on your way to finding medication.
Well, there you go, Sheila. And speaking of calls, we have a caller on the line.
Wonderful.
We got Dave. What's going on, Dave?
Hey, Damien. Yeah, I enjoyed listening to you and the guest there.
All right.
Talking about the legalities, though, still, even in those states that it's legal, that federally they can't.
Right.
If they're postal workers or military or that, they don't get a pass on that.
No, they don't.
No,
They get
and
pass.
federal agents still try to raid a lot of these facilities, even though they try to supersede the local authorities. So yeah, it's definitely this conflict between the federal level and the state level.
Huge waste of money, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't myself. I don't smoke it, but I think they should legalize it myself. But I believe the liquor lobbyists and stuff, they ain't gonna never let it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've actually was reading an article somewhere about, since it's been more and more states are legalizing it, when we were talking about beer earlier, the big beer companies are losing money.
Yes, they are.
You know, so now you have like Budweiser and whoever else, Miller, like you said, Corona, trying to get into the
cannabis field.
The cannabis field, and
yeah, and I imagine if they did legalize it, like R.J. Reynolds and all them, they'd just be ready to roll it off. But, you know, the wines, you know, making the cigarettes and.
Yeah, supposedly, I remember like years ago, this cop actually told me that R.J. Reynolds had bought, when marijuana or cannabis first became illegal, you know, when I don't know, back in the 40s or whatever.
It was like 34, but go
34.
ahead. 32 Tax Act. That's
okay.
What it was.
Oh, yeah, there you go. R.J. Reynolds bought a patent on cannabis for when it would become legal again.
Really?
Yeah.
We're going to have to look that up. I'd like to see that, bro.
I know.
I wonder what his patent was.
When they said that back in 32, was that about the time when the pharmacies stopped giving cocaine and shit for stuff for...
I don't know that timeline, but I do.
You might be right. I'm not sure.
I was discussing with some friends just the other day. Like, so we ran into Prohibition. What was that? The late 20s was Prohibition.
Yeah,
late 20s. Okay, and then we passed the Tax Act on marijuana in like 32. It could have been 32 or 34. I don't remember off the top of my head. Now, just imagine what would have happened if we put prohibition of alcohol on the table, and then we said, hey guys, you know what? Take this marijuana. Imagine how different this world would be. Imagine how beautiful this world could be if at that point we took alcohol away from American society and we gave them this beautiful flower of cannabis. Like, think of all the rapes that were caused by the ingestion of alcohol. Think of all the car accidents that have been caused by the ingestion of alcohol. Think of all of these.
How many families are broken up because of alcohol?
Yes, it's horrible, and
yeah, and what it does to your body. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love beer, but I'm totally like, I'm not an advocate of like drinking every day, and I know what it can. I mean, the harmful effects. There's so many more harmful effects that alcohol has on your body.
When they had prohibition, they showed that they'll still get it. You know, they either went across to Canada and had it come across, and booze and.
Yeah, that's. I mean, the mobster wars were.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, but overall, alcohol is a poison. We know that.
Right.
Alcohol is a direct poison. It's literally labeled as such, and if you put it in a scientific environment, it has a huge label on it that says "Do not ingest." So,
and as you say, there's a whole lot more medicinal values to pot than booze, and and then also, like you mentioned, there's also like the Native people, Native Americans. They have peyote. They have they have ceremonies and stuff.
Yeah,
no doubt. Yeah. Well, man, thanks for the call, Dave.
Yeah, and enjoyed the show.
Oh, thanks. We appreciate it. And speaking of the show, we're about to have to wrap it up in a little bit. So
no, I don't want to go.
I know. Me either. It always goes by so
we just
fast.
cracked the iceberg, man.
I know. We have to come back.
Oh, definitely, man. I'm definitely going to come back. Chicago's always my home, man.
Oh, yeah.
I love Cali, but I'll be back, man. I can't escape this. Like, this is the most beautiful city I've ever visited. And I've traveled all over the country to all the major cities, minus Seattle. I haven't seen Seattle yet.
Yeah.
But by far, Chicago is just...
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, I've traveled all over the world.
Oh, yeah. You got me faded, dude.
It's one of the most beautiful...
The Jet Set Pizza Man, baby.
That's me.
Yeah.
You gotta write that book.
Yeah, you do.
Before you go, I wanted to see if there's any social media stuff you want to plug for your music or for anything else.
Definitely. You can follow me on Facebook. It's wow. I guess I don't even do the shameless promo. I don't even know how to do it. I'm Big X on Facebook. Don Big X Roma is my personal page. I don't care which one you hit up. I'm always there. My Instagram is crud. Not crud. It's not crud. It's actually very fun. But it's Big X1, BIGX1. Follow me there. I'm always sharing interesting things about cannabis and music and art, and I just love life and history and literature, so feel free to drop in and shoot me a message, whatever. Perfect. I welcome it all, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man, thanks for being on the show. And we're going to ride out this Think Theory Radio with the perfect song for a beautiful 420 day.
Yes.
Windows by Big X and Ro.
Yes, sir.
Got a rental peeled off while the sun's coming up. Northbound on the 101, just touched down.
Red eyes on my red eye flight. What you know about that red eye life? No sleep, gotta eat real quick though. Belly growling, no meat, need that big dough. Came a long way from kick doors, bagging up 6 4s and keeping 4 G's for myself. Came a long way from being broke, glad I ain't gotta smoke